The massive view screen aboard the Earth defense ship Horizon lit up with an unknown signal. Admiral Jack Stone stood quietly, his weathered hands clasped behind his back as he watched the strange symbols dance across the screen. After 20 years of searching the stars for alien life, humanity had finally received its answer. The alien ship appeared suddenly, emerging from what looked like a tear in space itself. It was beautiful, sleek and silver, with gentle curves that made it look more like art than a vessel. The crew of the Horizon held their breath, weapons ready but not active. This was the moment they had trained for. "Sir, they're broadcasting on all frequencies," reported Lieutenant Rogers from his communication station. "The computer is working on translation." Stone nodded, his gray eyes fixed on the alien vessel. He had imagined this moment countless times during his career, but nothing had prepared him for the reality of it. The ship before them was clearly more advanced than anything Earth had built, yet it made no aggressive moves. Within minutes, the computer began converting the alien language into English. A soft, melodic voice filled the bridge. "Greetings, people of Earth. We are the Valorans, and we come seeking alliance." The message continued, revealing that the Valorans had been watching humanity for several years. They had waited until Earth's technology reached a certain level before making contact, but there was more to their arrival than simple diplomatic relations. "We must warn you," the Valoran message continued, "about the Galactic Council. They control most of known space, and they do not look kindly upon new civilizations that show independence." Over the next few hours, as the Valoran ship docked with the Horizon, Stone learned the full truth. The Galactic Council was an alliance of the oldest spacefaring races who believed they had the right to control how younger species developed. The Valorans were one of the few species who opposed this view, and they had paid dearly for their defiance. The Valoran ambassador, a tall, elegant being with silvery skin who asked to be called Shield Bearer, explained their situation in the ship's conference room. "The Council believes they know what is best for all species. They restrict technology, limit expansion, and demand obedience. We refuse to accept their authority, and now we seek allies before they move against us." Stone listened carefully, noting how the Valorans' three-fingered hands trembled slightly when speaking about the Council. "And why come to us?" he asked. "We're new to space travel compared to you." Shield Bearer's expression changed to what Stone assumed was a smile. "Because you humans have something special. You adapt incredibly fast. We've watched how quickly you've progressed. What takes other species centuries, you achieve in decades. The Council fears this about you, but we see it as hope." The Valorans offered to share their defensive technology with Earth, shields that could withstand tremendous energy weapons, and sensors that could detect ships moving through hyperspace. In return, they asked for military support when, not if, the Council decided to move against them. Stone knew this decision would change human history forever. Looking at the data the Valorans provided, he could see the Council's territory spanning thousands of light years. They had millions of ships and resources beyond imagination. But they also had weaknesses: their arrogance, their rigid thinking, their belief that younger races couldn't possibly challenge them. Within days, Earth's governments agreed to the alliance. The first human-alien technology exchange began, and Stone watched in pride as his engineers took the Valoran designs and immediately began improving them. Shield Bearer was right. Humans were adapters, innovators. As Stone stood in his quarters that night, looking out at the stars, a message flashed across his personal screen. The Galactic Council had noticed the Valoran ship's arrival at Earth. Their response was brief but clear. "Choose your allies carefully, humans. Some choices cannot be unmade." Stone smiled grimly at the threat. The Council had no idea what they were dealing with. Humanity had spent its entire history preparing for threats, adapting to overcome them, and emerging stronger. If the Council wanted to test Earth's resolve, They would learn just how fierce humanity could be when protecting its friends. 3 months after first contact, Intelligence Officer Tom Reed walked through the gleaming corridors of the Joint Earth-Valoran space station, Unity. His boots made no sound on the polished floor as he hurried toward the command center, carrying a data pad that contained disturbing news. The station's windows showed both Valoran and Earth ships moving in perfect formation during their joint training exercises. The massive Valoran vessels, with their artistic curves, made Earth's warships look rough and primitive. But appearances could be deceiving. Reed entered the command center, where Admiral Stone was discussing shield modifications with Shieldbearer. The Valoran's silver skin reflected the holographic displays around them, creating a subtle light show. "Sir, we have a problem," Reed said, activating his datapad. "Our deep space sensors detected unusual activity in 3 different sectors. The Council is moving ships, a lot of them." The holographic display shifted to show hundreds of red dots moving through space. Shieldbearer's eyes widened. These movement patterns, they're positioning for a multi-system strike. Stone studied the display with a grim expression. "How did you get this information, Reed?" "Remember those sensor upgrades our engineers made to the Valoran designs? They work better than expected. The Council thinks their ships are invisible to us, but we can track their energy signatures now." This was exactly what made humans dangerous. They didn't just use alien technology, they improved it. The Valoran sensors were already advanced, but Earth's engineers had pushed them further, finding ways to detect even the stealthiest Council ships. Shieldbearer moved closer to the display. "They're gathering more ships than they used in the last 3 conflicts combined. My people are not ready for an assault of this scale." "Then it's good thing they won't be facing it alone," Stone replied, pressing a button on the console. A new set of dots appeared, hundreds of them, colored blue. "Earth has been busy too." Reed smiled. While the Council had been watching for obvious military buildup, humanity had been constructing ships in underground facilities, inside hollowed-out asteroids, and in the shadow of gas giants. Each vessel was equipped with modified Valoran shields and purely human weapons that the Council had never encountered. "Sir," a young operator called out, "we're detecting Council probe ships at the edge of the Valoran home system. They're using some kind of new scanning technology." Stone turned to Reed. "How good is our stealth system?" "The best, sir. We've combined Valoran phase shifting with our own electromagnetic masking. As far as those probes are concerned, we're not even here." Shieldbearer's expression showed both worry and hope. "The Council believes they know everything about us, about you. Their arrogance is their greatest weakness. And that's exactly what we're counting on," Stone said, bringing up another display. "They think they're dealing with a young, primitive species that they can bully into submission. They don't realize that humanity's entire history is full of smaller forces defeating larger ones through innovation and adaptation." Reed's datapad beeped with new information. "Sir, we're picking up Council communications. They're discussing plans for a cleansing operation in Valoran space." The room fell silent. They all knew what that meant. The Council wasn't planning a simple show of force. They were planning genocide. Stone's voice was steel when he spoke. "Send word to Earth Command. All ships are to move to their designated positions. The Council wants to play rough." "Fine. Let's show them why you don't threaten humanity's friends." Shieldbearer looked at the humans with newfound respect. "You knew this day would come. You've been preparing all along." "Of course," Reed replied. "The first thing we learned in our history was that peace works best when you're strong enough to defend it. The Council thinks they're the teachers of the galaxy, but they're about to become students instead." As alerts began sounding throughout the station, Reed watched the Council ships continuing their buildup. They thought they were the hunters, but they didn't realize they were about to become the hunted. Humanity had never responded well to bullies, and the Galactic Council was about to learn this lesson the hard way. The attack came at dawn, Earth time. The Council's massive fleet dropped out of hyperspace directly above 3 Valoran colony worlds. Their ships blackened the skies like angry storms, weapons already charging. On the bridge of the Earth patrol ship Thunder, Captain Mark Wilson watched in horror as the first shots fired. The Council ships didn't bother with warnings or demands. They simply opened fire on civilian targets. The Valoran shield networks, their last line of defense, blazed bright against the onslaught before starting to fail. "Get me Admiral Stone now," Wilson ordered, his knuckles white, as he gripped his command chair. His ship was hidden behind a small moon, running silent with their new stealth systems. They weren't supposed to engage. This was just a patrol mission, but he couldn't just watch this happen. The emergency channel crackled to life. "Wilson, this is Stone. We're seeing it. Hold your position." "Sir, they're killing civilians. We have to." "That's exactly what they want," Stone cut in. "They're trying to provoke us into revealing our positions early. Stay hidden. Help is coming." Wilson watched the screens as massive explosions tore through Valoran cities. The Council ships were methodical in their destruction, moving in perfect geometric patterns as they bombarded the surface. Then something changed. A new signal appeared on their screens. The Council's main command ship was broadcasting on all frequencies. "To all Valoran forces and their Earth allies, witness the price of defiance. Surrender now, and some may be spared. Earth, withdraw your forces and submit to Council authority, or share their fate." Wilson's tactical officer suddenly shouted, "Sir, multiple hyperspace signatures detected. Big ones." The space around the colony worlds lit up as hundreds of ships emerged from hyperspace. But these weren't Council reinforcements. These were Earth's hidden fleet, led by Admiral Stone's flagship, Karen Vengeance. They had been waiting for this moment, positioning themselves perfectly to catch the Council forces off guard. "All Earth ships, engage." Stone's voice boomed through the command channel. "Protect those civilians. Show these bastards what happens when you attack our friends." Wilson's ship roared to life, thrusters burning hot as they emerged from hiding. Thunder joined the attack, its human-modified Valoran shields glowing as they absorbed enemy fire. The Council ships, caught between defending against the new threat and continuing their bombardment, began to break formation. The space battle was like nothing in human history. Council energy weapons lashed out with devastating power, but Earth's ships were faster, more maneuverable. They had studied Council tactics for months and knew exactly how to disrupt their perfect formations. Where Council ships moved in rigid patterns, Earth vessels danced through space like wild predators. "Sir," Wilson's weapons officer called out, "the Council ships, their shields aren't adapting to our weapons. They've never seen anything like them." This was humanity's advantage. While the Council relied on their traditional energy weapons, Earth's ships carried railguns that fired projectiles at nearly light speed, missiles with phase-shifting warheads that bypassed shields, and electronic warfare systems that confused enemy targeting. More Valoran ships arrived, their crews fighting with renewed courage at the sight of Earth's fleet. Together, they drove back the Council forces sector by sector. The Council commanders, faced with weapons and tactics they had never encountered, began to retreat. Admiral Stone's voice came through again. "Don't let them escape. We can't give them time to adapt to our weapons. Push them back." The battle raged for hours. When it finally ended, the Council fleet was in full retreat, leaving behind destroyed ships and shattered pride. The colony worlds were badly damaged, but thanks to the quick response of Earth's hidden fleet, many lives had been saved. Wilson stood on his bridge, watching as rescue ships descended to help the survivors. A message from Stone appeared on his screen. "Good work today, Captain. But this is just the beginning. The Council won't forgive this defeat. They'll be back, and in greater numbers. Next time, though, we won't be the ones caught off guard." The battle was over, but the war had just begun. Humanity had shown the galaxy that they weren't just clever builders or quick learners. They were fierce warriors who would fight to the death to protect their allies. 2 weeks after the first battle, Earth revealed its true military might. Hidden shipyards across the solar system opened their massive doors, releasing waves of warships that had been built in secret. Each vessel carried weapons the Council had never seen before, created by combining human ingenuity with Valoran technology. Admiral Stone stood on the bridge of the Terran Vengeance, watching as his fleet assembled near Jupiter. The gas giant storms provided a dramatic backdrop for humanity's largest gathering of warships. The ships ranged from quick attack craft to massive carriers, all built with one purpose: to protect Earth's allies and show the Council that humanity wasn't to be underestimated. "Fleet status report," Stone ordered, his voice carrying across the silent bridge. His executive officer responded quickly. "All ships report ready, sir. The Valorans have linked their communication systems with ours. We're seeing Council forces gathering in 3 sectors, just as intelligence predicted." The Council hadn't taken their defeat well. Their leaders had called an emergency session, declaring both Earth and the Valorans to be dangerous elements that must be controlled. But they had made a serious mistake. They had given humanity time to prepare. "Launch the drones," Stone commanded. Thousands of small, unmanned craft shot out from the carrier ships. These weren't simple reconnaissance units. They were part of humanity's new battle strategy. Each drone carried advanced electronic warfare systems designed to confuse and disable Council technology. The communications officer suddenly called out, "Sir, multiple Council ships dropping out of hyperspace. They're launching their attack." This time, Earth was ready. As the Council fleet emerged, they found themselves facing not just warships, but a carefully planned trap. The drones activated simultaneously, creating a web of electronic interference that disrupted the Council's carefully coordinated formations. "All ships, execute Battle Plan Delta," Stone ordered. The Earth fleet split into smaller groups, each moving with practiced precision. They had trained for this, running countless simulations based on the data from their first encounter. The Council ships opened fire with their energy weapons, but Earth's improved shields held strong. The Valorans had helped modify them to be even more effective, and human engineers had added their own innovations. When the Council ships tried to use their standard tactics, they found Earth's forces didn't behave like any enemy they'd faced before. "Bring us alongside their command ship," Stone ordered. The Terran Vengeance moved forward, its massive railguns tracking their target. "Show them what Earth's finest can do." The battle that followed was unlike anything the galaxy had seen. Earth ships darted between larger Council vessels, using their superior maneuverability to avoid enemy fire, while landing precision strikes. The drones confused Council targeting systems, making their advanced weapons miss more often than hit. A Valoran battle group joined the fight, their ships moving in perfect coordination with Earth's forces. The alliance they had formed was proving its worth. 2 species fighting as one, covering each other's weaknesses and multiplying their strengths. The Council commanders couldn't adapt fast enough. Their rigid tactics, developed over centuries of facing predictable enemies, proved useless against humanity's fluid battle style. Ship after ship fell to Earth's weapons, their mighty shields useless against technologies they had never encountered. "Sir," the tactical officer reported, "Council forces are breaking formation. They're retreating." Stone watched as the mighty Council fleet turned and fled, leaving behind dozens of disabled ships. The victory was decisive, but he knew it wasn't the end. "Send word to all ships. Well done, but stay alert. The Council won't take this defeat lightly." The executive officer smiled. They thought they were punishing 2 defiant species. Instead, they've awakened a force they can't control. Stone nodded, watching as rescue ships moved to capture the disabled Council vessels. Each one would provide valuable intelligence, helping Earth prepare for the battles ahead. The Council had ruled the galaxy through fear for too long. Now they were learning what happened when they pushed too far. They had to face humanity's fury. And that fury was just beginning to show its true power. The Council's response to their defeats was swift and terrible. They unleashed their banned quantum weapons, devices that could tear apart the fabric of space itself. Entire systems were cut off from hyperspace travel as spacetime warped and twisted under the assault. Intelligence Officer Tom Reed watched the sensor readings with growing horror aboard the stealth ship Shadow. His small vessel had slipped deep into Council space on a vital mission, and what they discovered was worse than anyone had imagined. "Send this to Admiral Stone immediately," Reed told his communications officer. "Priority 1 encryption." The data they'd gathered showed the Council's true plans, not just to defeat Earth and the Valorans, but to make their entire species extinct. They planned to use the quantum weapons to isolate both species' home systems, trapping them until they could be destroyed at leisure. But the Council had made a critical mistake. They didn't know about Earth's secret weapon, the neural disruptor. Hidden in underground labs, human scientists had combined their understanding of the brain with Valoran energy technology to create something entirely new. A weapon that could shut down any sentient being's neural pathways temporarily, without causing permanent harm. "Sir," Reed's sensor operator called out. "Large Council fleet approaching. They're sweeping the sector with quantum scanners." Reed remained calm. Their ship's stealth systems were a perfect blend of human and Valoran technology. "Continue recording. They won't find us." The Council ships passed nearby, their massive forms eclipsing distant stars. On their hulls, Reed could see the quantum weapon arrays being installed, dark crystals that seemed to absorb light itself. But he also saw something else, something that made him smile grimly. "Look at their shield configurations," he pointed out to his crew. "They're so focused on protecting their quantum weapons, they've left themselves vulnerable to conventional attacks." The Council's arrogance was showing again. They believed their advanced technology made them invincible, failing to consider that simpler weapons could still be deadly. This was exactly the kind of intelligence Earth needed. Back on the Terran Vengeance, Admiral Stone received Reed's transmission. He immediately called an emergency meeting with Shieldbearer and the other fleet commanders. The Council's genocide plans confirmed their worst fears, but also gave them an opportunity. "If they're consolidating their quantum weapons," Stone explained, pointing to the tactical display, "they're also consolidating their vulnerabilities. The neural disruptors can take out their crews before they can activate these weapons." Shieldbearer's silver skin rippled with concern. "But to get close enough to use the neural disruptors, we'll have to sacrifice some ships," Stone finished grimly. "That's why I'm calling for volunteers only." The response was immediate. Every Earth ship captain volunteered, as did many Valorans. Their alliance had grown stronger through combat, each species learning to trust the other completely. They would face this threat together. Meanwhile, Reed's ship discovered something else, a hidden Council facility deep in an asteroid field. Inside, they found proof of even darker plans. The Council wasn't just building weapons. They were developing biological agents designed to target specific species. "They're scared," Reed realized, watching his team copy the facility's data. "All this effort, these banned weapons, they're terrified of how quickly humanity has caught up to them, technologically. They're trying to end this war before we become even stronger." The Council's fear was justified. Even as they prepared their quantum weapons, Earth's factories were producing neural disruptors in massive numbers. Valoran ships were being retrofitted with human weapons, becoming even more deadly. The combined fleet grew stronger each day. As Reed's ship slipped away from the facility, he sent one final transmission to Stone. "Operation Shadow complete. You were right, sir. They're playing right into our hands." The Council thought their quantum weapons would guarantee victory. They didn't realize that humanity's greatest weapon wasn't the neural disruptor or any other piece of technology. It was their ability to adapt, to find solutions where others saw only obstacles. The next phase of the war was about to begin, and Earth was ready. The combined Earth-Valoran fleet gathered near the edge of Council space. It was the largest military force Earth had ever assembled. Over 1,000 warships, each carrying neural disruptors and crews ready for the final battle. Admiral Stone had called every available ship for this decisive push. All fleet commanders, report in. Stone ordered from the bridge of the Terran Vengeance. One by one, the sector leaders confirmed their readiness. The massive fleet was divided into 3 attack groups, each with a specific mission in the coming battle. Shield-bearer's voice came through the command channel. The Council's home systems are heavily defended. Our spies report they've concentrated most of their quantum weapons there. Good, Stone replied. That means they've fallen for our trap. They think we're coming for their capital. They don't realize we're actually targeting their supply lines first. The Council's overconfidence had led them to make a critical mistake. They'd pulled their fleets back to defend their core worlds, leaving their supply routes vulnerable. Tom Reed's intelligence team had mapped every weakness in their defenses. All ships, prepare for synchronized jump, Stone commanded. Remember your training. The Council thinks they know how we fight. Let's prove them wrong again. The fleet vanished into hyperspace in perfect coordination. When they reappeared, they were spread across 20 different systems simultaneously. The Council's supply lines were caught completely off guard. Earth's ships struck hard and fast. The neural disruptors proved devastatingly effective. Council crews fell unconscious at their posts, leaving their mighty warships helpless. Meanwhile, Valoran vessels used their advanced sensors to locate and destroy the quantum weapon stockpiles. On the bridge of his ship, Stone watched the tactical displays as reports flooded in. Supply depot in Sector 7 destroyed. Shipyard in Sector 3 captured. Quantum weapon facility in Sector 12 neutralized. The Council's response was chaos. Their rigid command structure, designed for controlling vast territories in peacetime, couldn't adapt fast enough to this kind of widespread attack. Their ships jumped from system to system, trying to respond to too many threats at once. Sir, Stone's tactical officer called out, we're detecting massive energy signatures. The Council is powering up their remaining quantum weapons. This was the moment they had prepared for. Stone gave the signal, and hundreds of small, stealthy ships suddenly decloaked near the Council's weapon platforms. These ships, crewed by volunteers, carried the most powerful neural disruptors ever built. Now, Stone ordered. The neural disruptor ships fired simultaneously. Waves of invisible energy washed over the Council's positions. Across hundreds of ships and stations, Council crews collapsed at their posts. The mighty quantum weapons, just seconds from firing, fell silent. The Council's leadership, watching from their capital, finally realized the truth. They had been outmaneuvered not just militarily, but strategically. While they focused on building super weapons, humanity had found a way to win without destroying their enemies. Sir, the communications officer reported, we're receiving surrender signals from multiple Council worlds. Their colonies are rising up against the central government. This was Reed's work. During his stealth mission, he hadn't just gathered military intelligence. He had also spread the truth about the Council's genocidal plans to their own people. Many Council worlds, disgusted by their leaders' actions, chose to side with Earth and the Valorans. Shield-bearer's voice carried a note of awe. You've done it. You've broken their power without destroying their civilization. My people fought them for generations, but we never imagined victory could look like this. Stone watched as more and more Council ships powered down their weapons, signaling surrender. Sometimes the best victory isn't about destroying your enemy. It's about showing them a better way. The Council's mighty fleets, their quantum weapons, their centuries of dominance, all had been overcome by human ingenuity and determination. But the real battle wasn't over. Now came the harder task, building a new and better galactic society from the ashes of the old. 3 days after the Great Battle, Earth and Valoran ships surrounded the Council's capital world. The once mighty Council leaders had barricaded themselves in their grand assembly hall, refusing to accept that their reign was truly over. But change was coming, whether they wanted it or not. Admiral Stone stood in the massive hall, watching as Council leaders were led out in restraints. Their ornate robes couldn't hide their shocked expressions. They still couldn't believe they had been defeated by a primitive species. Tom Reed stood nearby, coordinating with both Earth and friendly Council forces to maintain order. "The quantum weapons have all been secured," Reed reported, checking his datapad. "The Valorans are helping us safely dismantle them." It turns out several Council scientists had been protesting their use all along. Stone nodded, watching as more Council officials surrendered. Not all of them had supported their leaders' extreme actions. Many had secretly opposed the genocide plans, and these moderates were now stepping forward to help build a new galactic government. "Sir," a young officer rushed up, "we found their secret archives. Everything's there. Records of species they've destroyed, technologies they've suppressed, civilizations they've held back. They've been doing this for thousands of years." The scale of the Council's crimes was staggering. They had appointed themselves as the galaxy's rulers, deciding which species could advance and which would be kept primitive. Those who resisted, like the Valorans, were marked for destruction. Shield-bearer arrived with a group of representatives from various Council worlds. The silver-skinned alien's presence in the Council hall would have been unthinkable just days ago. The colony worlds are pledging support for the new alliance. They're tired of living under the Council's tyranny. Stone looked around the Grand Hall, thinking about how much had changed. "Make sure everyone knows that we're not here for revenge. Earth doesn't want to rule the galaxy. We want to help build something better." Outside, the city was coming back to life. Council citizens watched in amazement as Earth and Valoran ships worked together to restore services and maintain peace. They had been taught that other species were inferior, but now they saw the truth. Cooperation made everyone stronger. "The Council leadership will face trial," Reed said, reviewing reports. "But their people won't be punished for their leaders' crimes. Most of them were just following orders, believing they were preserving galactic stability." Stone walked to the hall's great window, looking out at the stars. "The hard part begins now. Building a lasting peace is always tougher than winning a war." The next few days saw dramatic changes. Representatives from Earth, the Valorans, and reformed Council worlds met to form a new galactic alliance. Unlike the old Council, this alliance would be based on equality and mutual respect. All species would have a voice, and no one would be held back from advancing. "The neural disruptors will be locked away," Stone announced to the gathered representatives. "They served their purpose, but we won't need weapons like that in the future we're building." Shield-bearer addressed the assembly next. "For generations, my people dreamed of this day, but we could never have achieved it alone. Humanity showed us that victory doesn't always require destruction. Sometimes the best way to defeat an enemy is to turn them into friends." The new alliance's first act was to free all the species the Council had suppressed. Ships were sent out across the galaxy, carrying technology and knowledge to those who had been kept primitive. A new age of exploration and cooperation was beginning. In the end, humanity's greatest victory wasn't defeating the Council's mighty fleets or overcoming their quantum weapons. It was showing the galaxy a better way forward. Earth had proved that being advanced didn't mean being cruel, that being powerful didn't mean being tyrannical. As Stone prepared to return to Earth, he took one last look at the Council capital. The city's spires still reached toward the stars, but now they symbolized hope instead of oppression. Humanity had changed the galaxy forever, not through overwhelming force, but through innovation, cooperation, and an unwavering determination to stand up for what was right.